Good evening. I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. We have a storm threat for Friday to talk about. We'll touch briefly on the snow threat as well, um, but we'll focus more on the storm threat for Friday. I'll basically say to start open the video like this, there is a massive roller coaster we're all about to get on. So we're gonna have to buckle up tightly here, to say the least. Of course, as you're coming into the broadcast, if you would not mind, tap the share button at the bottom portion of your screen if you're over there on Facebook. That'll share this video on your news feeds. That way your friends and family can view it. Also helps us grow some as well. So thank you very much for that. If you're on YouTube, of course, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. You guys know how that stuff rolls. Now that we have that out of the way. Again, if you're just now hopping in here, I'm George Herbig, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. We do have quite the roller coaster ahead. I'm talking roller coaster when it comes to storm chances, turning into potential snow chances. We'll talk about some of those. And then, of course, not only that, but I think the bigger story is the temperature roller coaster we're about to go on. We're talking about potential 70s for Friday, maybe even into Saturday a little bit. And then we're talking about maybe not even leaving the 30s on Monday and Tuesday. So we have quite the roller coaster we're about to hop on. So we'll give it about 30, 45 more seconds, allow some folks to get in here, get settled in. I know sometimes the notifications go out faster or slower, depending upon where you're at and all that good stuff. So I always try to give it a few moments before we hop into things. So stay patient here with us. Share the video, of course, as you're coming through. Make sure you're saying hello as you come through so I can recognize you and say hello back. Amber on you or on Facebook says, just saw a bright meteor in the sky driving down logs and wish I could have gotten a pic of it. Really? I'll have to check in on that and see what's going on. Thank you for letting me know. Phoenicia on YouTube says, Stanford here. I appreciate you tuning in. Good evening to you, Phil, out of Owsley County. Again, we're giving it about 30 more seconds, allowing folks to get in here, get settled in, so that they can get the information that they want as well. We do have a storm risk posted for Friday. I'll talk about that. We'll talk about the brief snow chance on Monday, and of course the roller coaster of temperatures that we're about to see. Stacy from Owensboro, Macy, hello out of Nancy, Kentucky. Charlotte, good evening to you on YouTube and Facebook there. Hopefully everything's working correctly. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you guys can't. By the way, that's part of this broadcast too. I want you guys to let me know how everything sounds and looks. We made a lot of changes over the last day and a half, so I need you guys to let me know how it looks, how it sounds, what you would want to see. Because again, a lot of this is up to you guys. Don't worry. I know the microphone's kind of in the way of the camera for now. I'm going to try and creatively think of a way I can get it out of the camera. But for now, just to get this broadcast done tonight, it had to be here. So just let me know how things sound, how things look, and we can adjust things from there. Amanda, hello from Glasgow. Someone else said they heard or saw it as well. Dan, good evening. Good evening to you. Hey, George, here you just found watch from New Haven. Lisa, good evening to you, my friend. Carla, hello. Amber, how are you? We're ready for another winter with your updates. I appreciate that, Amber. Thank you so much. Sharon says hello, George from Hodgenville. Okay, we'll give it about 10 more seconds, and then we'll start diving into everything. I'll go through a recap of what I just introed here. Guys, we have a big roller coaster we're about to hop on. Not just rain or snow. We're talking about temperatures going way up and way down over the next, let's say, 5 to 6 days here in Kentucky. And even beyond that, I even saw some data going into mid to late November where it's looking quite interesting, to say the least. So looks and sounds good. Okay, thank you guys again for all those. I appreciate that. On top of that, we're talking about a potential severe threat for Friday that looks legit. We're talking about a potential snow flurry, maybe even snow shower threat for early next week. So we got a lot to talk about here. So make sure you buckle in, get comfortable, grab your drink, make sure you shut the broadcast out. Let's start rolling into this thing here. All right. So we do have a severe risk posted for Friday here at level 2 out of 5 risk in yellow, level 1 out of 5 risk in green, and of course a general thunderstorm risk in this pale green, if you will. I'll back the mic up just a little bit there because it's right in my face. All right. So we do have those risks posted there. Now, this is a day 3 risk, so it does not break down tornado threat or wind threat or anything like that. Now, before I go into the model data and the AI data, you guys know I'm going to show you all of that. I do want to say I do think there's probably going to be 2 to 4% tornado threat, and we're probably looking at about a 15 to 29% risk of damaging winds. That's mainly going to be towards Somerset, Berea, Campbellsville, Bowling Green, maybe even out here toward London, Kentucky, Berea. Basically, this south central and southeastern portion of the state. That to me And again, I'll show you all this on the model data as well. But this area, I think they're a little bit too west with this right now for Kentucky. I think it's more like this. I think this is kind of what we're looking at here for potential severe threat. With the highest severe threat probably being, let me use a different color here. Let's go with like red, I guess. With the highest severe threat probably being like here, and then down. So again, that to me is how things are going to shape up. I'm going to break it down for you on the model data, on the AI data as well. But I do think there is a legit threat for some severe storms. I don't think. Let me prerequisite this by saying I don't think this is going to be a major outbreak. I don't think we're looking at anything historic here. This is a lot like the severe threat that we had. Oh my goodness, what was it? It was the weekend after Malin got born, so 3 weeks ago. The difference here with this one is it does have high wind shear. It is at a good time of day. So it's a lot like the last one, but this one has a little bit more storm fuel with it. A little bit more storm fuel with it. So again, it's not going to be anything that's going to be overly crazy, but it is worth talking about and preparing you guys on. By the way, this is for Friday. This Friday coming up. Let's switch over to the model data here, and then I'm going to break it down on the AI data as well. So we got a lot of things to look at here. First thing I'm going to start here with is the double RFSA model. And as you can see, up until the actual time of the storms on Friday, it is mostly clear in our state for Wednesday, Thursday. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. Jesse, I appreciate that, my friend. I was reading Jesse's comment. That's why I paused there. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. But again, I think we're gonna have some of the best, like just pure conditions that we've seen for a while over the next, like, let's say 36 to 48 hours in Kentucky. It's gonna be actually just straight up gorgeous. Only problem is it's gonna continue to be a little bit windy. So if you're out there cleaning up leaves and cleaning up all these things, I really wouldn't bother with it personally unless it really bothers you, because it's just gonna get messed up again. Okay, so let's go toward Friday here. Friday morning, maybe some spotty rain showers to kind of soften things up a little bit. And then as we go into Friday afternoon and evening, you'll see it's not a massive line of storms. It's not. The problem is right now the model data is projecting there to be a lot of gaps in this line of storms, and that to me indicates that the storms may be allowed to get a little bit stronger. The live cam right now that you're seeing on your screen is in Elizabethtown on I-65 looking south. By the way, someone asked about that. I need to put that up there. But anyway, it's not going to be a massive line of storms. And you can see for you folks in Western Kentucky, before we kind of dive into this and really dive into what we're seeing here, for you folks in Western Kentucky, there's not a thing expected for you, not even a raindrop. Okay. So if you're in Paducah, Evansville, Owensboro, Henderson, Mayfield, Murray, Hopkinsville, even Litchfield, Brandenburg, again, west of I-65, really hardly a thing expected for you. If you just hopped on to stay patient here, I'm just now starting to break everything down. This is again for Friday afternoon and evening. So again, for western half of Kentucky and west central Kentucky, not a thing expected for you. This is genuinely, I think, and I think they even have this too far west. I think you're going to see tonight's update move this a little bit further east. And that's just my feeling on that. This is mainly going to be a south central and southeastern Kentucky type of event here. But you'll see the storm line kind of sparks over Kentucky here because a shortwave has gone and moved through our area as a part of a jet stream. And I'll zoom out and show you that on a broader view here. But again, that's what's kind of triggering these storms here. There is plenty of wind energy with this. There is plenty of helicity with this. It's lacking a little bit of moisture and it's lacking a little bit of storm fuel, but it's enough to get the job done in the fall winter time here. So advancing this forward, you'll see the time frame is mainly going to be from, let's say, 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern time to about 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. As soon as that sun goes down, I think these things pretty much die out. So you're probably talking about closer to 8 to 9. But again, it's going to be moving northwest to southeast here, if you will. And then, by the way, I'm going to show you this real quickly before we dive in even further here. And then as the cold front tries to come in on Sunday morning, the warm front's going to try and lift from the south as well, and it'll actually bring these storms back up into Kentucky a little bit, almost circulating them. It's a really cool thing, but these should barely just clip the southeastern corner of the state. Let's focus in a little bit more on Friday afternoon here, and just to kind of click on a sound in here and kind of show you what we're dealing with here. It's nothing overly impressive. Don't pay attention to this right here. It's nothing overly impressive here. So we have about 266 joules per kilogram of CAPE at the surface. That's not going to be enough to get it done. That may be enough for one or two severe storms, but not anything crazy. We do have a nice block. If you look at these two lines here, your red and green lines here, we do have a nice block right here going to help prevent some of those storms or winds from actually reaching the ground there. I still think a good chunk of them will reach the ground, but that's going to help to try and block those out a little bit. Now, the one thing this storm system does have is it's a classic high shear, high helicity event. So it does have a lot of wind energy with it. But even the turning of the winds isn't all that impressive up here on the right side. Not an overly impressive system, but I think a few of these storm cells could achieve severe level status. Just again, based upon the way the storms are moving, there is just enough storm fuel there. Here, I'll kind of show you this. I don't like showing this a whole lot because people read this and go crazy about it. But this is I think this is something that we can show here that's going to help put it a little bit of context in. This is called significant tornado parameter. Don't freak out when hearing that. Basically, this is just kind of showing us where the best storm fuel is. And you'll see it's kind of in central eastern Kentucky. It goes all the way up into Indiana and Ohio, but that's much lighter up there. Typically, you want to see this go over 2, maybe get closer to 3 and higher. As you can see, it's kind of at like a 0.5. So it's really, really low on the scale here. So this again, obviously, I don't look at this too much. But I think this allows for some more context for you guys. I don't. This is not high up on the scale for me. Now, can this change? Absolutely. And the number one way it can change is if the models show us there's a little bit more storm fuel here. So this metric right here called surface-based CAPE is basically telling us the gas or the fuel that's there for the storms. And it does show a nice bit of fuel out here for, let's say, Bowling Green, toward Hopkinsville, going up toward Litchfield, Hart County, so on and so forth. Why? Hang on, my wife is calling me real quickly. Hello? All right, sorry about that. Okay, let me catch my breath. Woo! Oh my goodness. Let me catch my breath real quick. Okay. Sorry, I was sprinting. My wife called me and she thought someone was in the house. So I took off just sprinting and I haven't run like that in a while. So I'm out of breath a little bit. Everything's okay. What happened was my son ended up getting out of bed and we have a camera in his room that kind of watches him, and we have a net around his bed so he can't escape. Somehow he escaped it. It was knocking things down in there. But my wife, when she went onto the camera, couldn't see because the camera was on the ground. Right. So she was scared someone was in there. So anyway, we're all good. Everything's all good. It was just a freak little thing right there. So I promise everything's all good. Now I'm just gonna catch my breath. Okay. Everything's okay though. Thank you guys for asking. Sorry, I usually don't leave the broadcast like that, but obviously gotta check things out, make sure everything's okay there. I didn't see any alerts on it. We have cameras all around the house. I didn't see any alerts. So I figured it was something weird. But since she heard some banging in there, I was like, I want to make sure Samuel and everybody's okay. So everyone's okay though. Where were we? Oh, yes. So, man, now I'm kind of all out of sync here. Adrenaline's going. Yeah, I know it was crazy. It was crazy, but everything's good. We checked it all out. Everything's okay. So going back to here, where were we at here? Oh yes, surface based cape. So you'll see that there is a nice pocket of energy right here in this blue area. Nice, over 1,000 joules per kilogram. It's actually a nice pocket there. The problem is, or lack thereof, is when I click on this and I go over here to compare the models, or not compare the models. I'm sorry. When I go over here, click on 52. Nice, there we go. The pocket of energy is there. Remember that. The pocket of energy is in western or west central Kentucky. Look at where the actual storm line is, though. It's all about eastern Kentucky. So the actual best pocket of energy is displaced from the actual storm line. So there are a lot of I guess warning signs here to me saying this will be a strong to severe storm event for central and eastern Kentucky, but I think we avoid any high ceiling type of things because the better energy and the better wind shear and everything else is actually going to be west of the line of storms. So I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy here. Of course, we'll provide more updates and all that as we get closer. And as we get closer, the model data becomes more consistent. So it'll be a much better idea. I think right now we're just on the precipice or the edge of getting some better model data. I think by tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have a really good look at what to expect for Friday night. So I'll probably do another video update tomorrow afternoon on the storm threat for Friday. Okay, so here is the AI. So this is going to show us basically the threat here that the AI model is trying to pick up. So here right now we are on, as you can, well, you can't really see, but it is on tornado risk. So right now this is going to show you the tornado risk in Kentucky for that specific time frame. Let me zoom it up through here, Friday afternoon and evening. You'll see it does see a wide tornado threat, but do not freak out. This is very low. So if this was anything respectable when it comes to a respectable threat from this AI model here, this would actually be probably yellow or orange or red. Right now it's on like gray blue, which yes, you guys can see. Look up there to the top of the screen. You can see it's actually all the way toward the bottom. So this is more of like a 2% threat. So again, don't freak out. There is, I think, a tornado risk present, but it's very, very low. And to me, the highest tornado threat is actually nailed by this AI model. I think it would be from Somerset to Monticello, Campbellsville toward Corbin, London, Williamsburg, down here in the south middle portion of the state. And even that's probably 2-3%. Again, it's not very high. Now, oppositely, when I go to click on the wind risk threat, you'll see when it actually loads all the way in here, you'll see the wind risk threat actually does expand a lot into Kentucky here. So this is a nice solid 40 to 50% threat of wind gusts 58 mile per hour or greater. And now actually zoom this forward and you'll see it does actually show almost a 70% chance of 58 mile per hour or greater winds down there to that spot I nailed out before: London, Corbin, Williamsburg, Monticello, Somerset. So down there in the southern corner of the state, if you will. And that kind of pushes it on out here. So again, it's not, I think it's a lot like, if you can remember back 3 weeks ago, I think it was Saturday, the like 17th or something like that, where we had a storm threat. Everyone was kind of freaking out and I was trying to calm everybody down. It's a lot like that one where there is a nice wind threat. There is probably a 2 to 3% tornado threat, but it's not going to be anything super crazy. We probably could see 3 to 4 severe warnings from this. And then a lot of special weather statements. That's what we're looking at right now. By the way, if you're just not tuning in here, we're talking about this storm threat for Friday, where we currently do have a 2 out of 5 or a slight risk in yellow from Bowling Green, Campbellsville to Somerset. And I do think once we get closer, like for tonight's update and tomorrow's update for the storm threat on Friday, we're talking about maybe pushing this risk to the east a little bit more toward Berea, Somerset, London. I think right now this is too far west. I don't think we're talking about a storm threat, a severe threat anyway, for Hopkinsville, Russellville, Oak Grove, and maybe even into Bowling Green. I don't think we're really talking about that there. I think we're talking about it more to the east. So I hope that makes sense there. All right. Now what I want to talk about is the potential snow threat for Monday. Now, if you remember back, I think it was it was actually October 30th. I think I made a post about there being a potential snow threat for, well, not snow threat. Let me rephrase that. A snow flurry chance, if you will, for the 9th of November. If you guys know me, know anything about me, I don't usually go out on a limb that early unless I have something that really makes sense to me. And the European model solution on this run here makes a lot of sense to me. So I'll go ahead and show you what we're talking about here. First, before we get there, I want to show you the cold front that's coming in. It is quite impressive here. So as far as this week and going into later this week, you'll see that we actually get dew points all the way up into the mid 50s. So it's going to feel a little bit like May or April here. Again, with temperatures in the upper 60s, low 70s, dew points in the upper 50s, low 60s. Going to feel like a nice late spring day, if you will, or early spring day, I should say. So with that, we look at Saturday and Sunday, and you'll see all over here to the west. Look at how dry that air is coming in. Watch it just smack down the dew points here. That's our cold front moving through. Here are the dew points by Monday morning. You'll see they're all the way down into the upper teens, low 20s. And then going into next week, it's very dry. So, hey, if you have a humidifier or you have problems with dry air or wintry air, you're going to need to pull those humidifiers and things out because it's going to get very, very dry here. Now, what I want to show you is kind of pushing in here. Here is our storm threat for Friday. It sees it almost the same way. Another potential rain threat for Sunday morning. I don't think we're looking at a severe threat at this time. And then on the backside of this low pressure that you see here, we may see a snow band or a couple of bands swing back down into Kentucky. It's going to be 50-50, but you'll see here on the European model, it's very light, maybe even a couple of snow squalls. You see a couple of deeper blues in there by Monday morning, and then Monday afternoon, maybe some leftover snow flurries and so on and so forth. Now, some of the runs are trying to make this a little bit stronger, maybe even throwing down an inch and a half of snow. I don't really buy that at this point, okay? I want to point that out there. I don't really buy that at this point. Also, a lot of us are smart enough to know that this is not going to stick, but I do want to show you. I do want to show you the temperatures because I think this is something that some people are overlooking a little bit. So here are our temperatures for Friday. By the way, I talked about this. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s, maybe even push up towards 70 for some folks. Saturday, this is the same thing. Beautiful, beautiful temperatures. And then it gets really brutal really fast. And yes, I think this is brutal. Some people were telling me this is not brutal. Temperatures in the low 20s with wind chills in the upper teens. That's brutal to me. I'm sorry, that's cold. But look at what happens with the snowfall on Monday here. Temperatures get really close to that 25-degree marker. I'll explain why that's important here in a second. Look what happens on Tuesday morning. Monday night, Tuesday morning, temperatures also get really close to that 25-degree marker. The reason that this is important is because a flash freeze will set in at anything at 25 degrees or below. So that means anything that's on the ground that's wet, that has any type of puddling characteristic to it, will freeze. It absolutely will, especially in the upper elevations of eastern Kentucky, where the snowfall may actually occur. So I wouldn't be overly shocked to see some slick spots Tuesday morning if we get some snow showers. I'm not talking about snow flurries, I'm talking about snow showers. And it kind of melts and then maybe refreezes a little bit. I don't think it's going to be anything overly crazy. I don't think it's going to be anything to really shut down any schools. So don't freak out about that. I'm just saying, hey, this is a heads up. I don't think we're going to massive flash freeze. And of course, as you saw on the precipitation here, most of that snow is going to be in the eastern Kentucky and the upper elevations here. May get a few snow flurries out here in central Kentucky. If you're in western Kentucky, I'm sorry about it. You're not going to get a whole lot of anything. Matter of fact, I think this model is being overly generous, trying to show you a few flurries there for Monday evening. But again, not an overly crazy threat here. I'll show you the snowfall accumulations that this is trying to put out. But remember, it's 98% of this is going to melt, probably 100% of this. But it is trying to show a half inch to maybe even an inch. It's trying to show 2 inches of snow falling in Hardin County. Again, I don't think that's the case. That would be cool because I'm a snow lover. But it is trying to show some snow falling. So again, that's the European model. Here's the GFS model. Now, the GFS model has been really the only model to not really buy into this whole snow thing for Friday. Let's see if it's buying in a little bit. It is buying in a little bit now. Nothing crazy. Again, probably a quarter to half inch of snow falling. Not really anything sticking out there in eastern Kentucky. You can see it's much more east with everything. Just showing over a foot of snow, almost 2 feet of snow up here toward northern Ohio, which is insane to think about. But it is a good start for our winter if you're a snow lover, because look what happens here to our north. And this is, I'm sorry, what? The GFS model is trying to show a half a foot of snow in northern Kentucky by November 20th. Yeah, let's not pay attention to that. But it is a good start if you're a snow lover in Kentucky. When what I mean by that is we need snow on the ground to our north to push snow systems further south. And if you look up here, Canada's, I mean, it's a really nice start to winter for Canada, even northern America here, northern United States here, with a solid 20, 30 inches of snow up there in the northeast. I mean, this may not be 100% accurate here. I mean, we are going 300 plus hours out, but you'll see it's trying to throw some snow out to our north, which will help set up some things for maybe December to roll in. So again, really, really cool setup here if you're a snow lover. It may not snow a whole lot here in Kentucky on Monday, Tuesday of next week, but you may see some snow flurries throwing around out there in portions of the state. Okay, that's going to do it for us here. If you just now joined in here, I'm sorry for you for wrapping these things up here, but this video will be available on playback here in YouTube and Facebook when I post it here in just a second. Again, I'm not going to get into a whole lot of questions tonight. We'll probably do that tomorrow because I think this forecast needs a little bit more time. There is a general storm or severe threat for Friday evening in Kentucky. And then we're talking about a temperature roller coaster starting Friday, going toward Monday, Tuesday next week, where we may not see temperatures leave the 30s in Kentucky. So we're talking about a roller coaster of temperatures and precipitation types here in our state. Kevin, thank you very much. I'm still working on some things, but thank you. I appreciate that. I think I still need to do a little bit more tuning to it. Sometimes it pops a little bit, which I'm not really sure why I'm still doing that. I maybe need to add a little bit more compression to it, but we're still kind of fine tuning things a little bit, but we're getting there. So thank you very much. So again, I'll probably do another forecast update video tomorrow. I'll probably do a classic video and then upload it. Probably won't do it live, and then we'll do a Q&A tomorrow night, most likely on this small scale event for Friday. Mandy, I don't think this is a headliner event here, but this will be a solid storm there for central and eastern Kentucky. Hayden, I think it looks a little bit stormy, mostly gorgeous though. Maybe some rain showers on Sunday morning. Saturday, mostly clear. Friday night, probably a little bit stormy as well. Okay, that's going to do it for us here. I'll probably make another update here soon. I'm George Harvey, Chief Forecaster here. I just realized I clicked the wrong thing. I'm George Harvey, Chief Forecaster here with Weather Now Kentucky. Thank you so much for tuning into our broadcast. Until next time, stay safe, friends.